give me the high sign that we're ready to go.
Ready to go.
All right. I'll call to order the Greenwood Redevelopment Commission on this, the 10th day of November of 2020. If you would please roll call.
Mr. Hopper?
I am here.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Harris? Mr. Harris?
Oh, maybe that's who I missed.
Mr. Moan?
Here.
And non-voting advisor, Mr. Alexander? I see him. He's muted.
He's muted.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's trying to figure out how to unmute it. I can see the look on his eyes.
All right, we will mark Mr. Harris absent. If anyone happens to see him log on, you may just shout out the time so I can note the record in case I miss it.
And don't tell him that I completely missed that he wasn't on here either. All right, is there a motion to approve our minutes from our October 13th meeting?
I'll move for approval.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoover.
All right, Mr. Hoover. Thank you, sir. There's a second.
Mr. Campbell.
Second by Mr. Campbell. Any discussion, additions, deletions, corrections from anybody? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. Looks like motion approved 4-0.
I'll abstain, Mr. Hopper. I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. No problem. 3-0, one abstention. No problem. New business, resolution 2020-14, a resolution approving an application for property tax deductions for certain real property located within the East Side Economic Development Area, LLSC Properties, LLC. I'm assuming somebody here wants to talk about that.
That's Dr. Andrew Hector.
All right. The floor is yours.
Okay, so we just have a building that we're building. It's off of Airport Parkway. I have a couple parts of my business. I do some family medicine. It's a direct primary care practice, which is kind of a non-insurance based practice, which fits very well with people with, no insurance or high deductible plans. It's kind of a community benefit. Do some things like discounted labs and other things like that. So we've been in practice for that part of my practice, a good 5 years or so here in Greenwood, and another part of my practice does some cosmetic laser procedures. But we're expanding and building a new building, and it's a little challenging with some of the infrastructure, with getting the sewer and the water and all this other stuff that hasn't been run, and some lumber costs and things are going up. So we're pursuing a tax abatement to help with the construction costs and to get this project going. It's kind of the summary there.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but just as a matter of disclosure, I am, as some of you know, a school bus driver for Center Grove Schools, and Dr. Hector is the physician we go to for our physicals. So I've been to see him a couple times. So, just want to make sure everybody's aware of that situation.
That is actually a part of our practice. Yeah, we do some other community benefit things. So we do the driver physicals for the entire Center Grove School District. So, correct.
Yeah. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Hey everybody, Brian just joined. Couldn't get on the WebEx for some reason.
Okay.
So I'm joining you by phone. Sorry.
All right. Good to have you, Mr. Harris. We're on Resolution 2020-14, a property tax abatement for what is essentially, can I just call it a doctor's office? Is that close enough?
Yes,
okay.
That's right.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Harris?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that.
All right, Mr. Moan, sir. Thank you. Is there a second? I'll make the second, since I was here listening.
I think Mr. Hoover may have.
Did
just
he?
Muted.
You're still muted, Mr.
muted.
Hoover. There you go. Did you make the second, sir?
I attempted to, but you.
Okay. It is yours.
Okay.
All right. We'll make you earn that paycheck today.
Okay.
All right. Any further questions, comments from any of the commission members? All right. All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Sounded like a 5-0 approval. Moving on, resolution 2020-13, additional appropriations resolution. Hey, there's public hearing, Amanda. Did she nod her head yes? I didn't hear anything.
Sorry.
No, you're
Yes, sir.
okay. Is there a motion to approve? Start there.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All right. I will open up the public hearing. Anybody who wants to speak up for or against may do so now.
Mr. Hopper, can you hear me?
I can, Mr. Watson.
All right, I think I had some technical difficulty earlier. I was just going to suggest that anyone who is not talking, mute their microphone. We're getting a little background noise.
Okay. We can probably have IT mute everybody that isn't maybe me for now, I guess. And then if somebody needs to talk, you can jump on in.
The only background noise I've been seeing is from Mr. Hoover.
Okay. And he's muted and we can't hear what he's saying anyway, even though he's trying to talk. So, all right. So now for the public hearing portion, if there's anybody out there who wants to speak, please unmute your line and speak up now. I'll give you a couple seconds here to figure that out. All right. Hearing none. Any additional comments, questions, anything from commission members? And I'll give you guys a few seconds to figure out how to unmute your lines as well. All right. Hearing none. All those in favor of approving resolution 2020-13 signify by aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is approved 5-0. Did I ever close the public hearing? If I didn't, it is closed. Okay. Old business, none. Capital project reports, Greenwood Fieldhouse project, consideration of contract with Tailored Systems. I'm assuming it's the Kevin portion of the show here.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have the I don't have the exact numbers on these. They ended up taking it from home rather than work kind of last minute. So Amanda probably has the docs. But on this first one, it was over 100,000, and it we introduced it last time. It is for the IT infrastructure, the wiring and video cameras and all the various switches and boards that are needed to do that building for the field house. We contract these separate rather than lump it under a general contractor because you get that that markup on it. And so this would be payable by either the bond for the field house or the central TIF if the controller or we need it, but it should be probably out of the bond for the field house. So again, apologize, I don't have the exact number on it, but it's just over 100,000, and was for all the structured cabling and video systems and whatnot in the field house project.
All right, I'm trying to look and see. Oh, okay. On the contract itself, it's in different sections. That's why I'm not seeing a full number. I've got $28,042.78 for one portion, $1,430 2 another portion, $52,370.58 another portion, and $15,192.71 for the what appears to be the final of the contract. I didn't do the math in my head real quick there. I don't know if anybody else was typing along as
I ran the numbers. And it comes up $104,036.09.
104.36
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions for Kevin? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover. All that noise is coming from you, sir. Yep. Got a lawnmower going on in the backyard. Somebody out there working? Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. Motion approved 5-0. Consideration of contract with Pointer Sheet Metal.
Yeah, so this is another contract we have with them. This is for the G-shaped stainless steel bike racks that you've seen that we put up in Old Town. There are some scoped for in front of the field house, as well as a couple more on Madison Avenue. They're also at Old City Park. One cool thing about these is that they are actually fabricated. Metal's not made in Greenwood, but all the bending of it and polishing of it is made right on the east side of Greenwood at Pointer Sheet Metal's headquarters and facility over there. I believe it was just over 18,000, if I recall, and this will be payable by the Fieldhouse bond and also the funds allocated for the project for Madison Avenue North, which come out of the Fry Road TIF and Fry Road cash. And again, the rationale for not including these in a project is when we do have something sourced, it just doesn't make sense to pay a procurement markup when we know exactly where we're getting it.
All right. You know, it's 18,400 is the total.
Thank you.
Do you know if they've given us the same deal throughout the years?
This is the same deal as the last
cost
one.
increase.
There was an increase about 2 years ago between the very first ones we bought that went in at the amphitheater and when we put in the ones that we bought for Old City Park. I think that's when, there was metal tariffs were first coming in and everyone was putting markups and stuff. But this is the same price as the ones that we put in at Old City Park. So it stayed pretty consistent except for when the kind of raw material went up there. I think that was almost 3 or 4 years ago now. 3 years ago, probably.
Right.
So.
Sounds good. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Campbell.
Second.
First and second.
Second by Mr. Moan. I think I heard first. Yep.
It was me.
You are welcome to get the next one, Mr. Harris. Any other questions for Kevin? All right. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. All right. Motion approved 5-0. County Line Road, Madison Avenue. Consideration of appraisal services with Valbridge.
This is a part of the project. We'll have one more of these next meeting. Very small contract, but this is for the appraisals needed for right-of-way acquisition on 2 parcels, the Goodyear and the Speedway, right at Madison and County Line as part of our collaborative project with Marion County / Indianapolis to add some turn lanes. As you guys know, if you come across Greenwood, this time of year, any time of year nowadays, you back up at that stoplight at Madison and County Line. So Marion County got, I believe, some grants to do that, but we have to acquire the right-of-way on our side. And so we'll have a second appraisal contract next month once I get some more quotes in to do the 2 appraisals to make the 2 property holders the offer for the right-of-way will need to improve that intersection. And so that'll be payable from the Fry Road TIF.
That's let's see, $3,300.
That's correct, sir.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
A motion.
Looking at you. There you go, Mr. Harris. I was looking at you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes.
Who seconded? Somebody said Mr. Campbell.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. Motion approved, 5-0. Financial report, tax increment update.
Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Adam. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear, Adam.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, so just quick update on increment. Obviously, November tax bills are being paid and due now. We haven't heard any real update from the county relative to any additional delays or anything like that this time. So our current cash forecast at the end of the year predicts that we would get the remaining settlement that we've essentially been planning for all year next month. So just wanted to give a quick update on that. So in your package, you should have the monthly financial report. It indicates essentially what we've collected year to date by TIF and then how much we're still remaining as far as estimated gross revenue. Really just the only asterisk I would give, and this is for really any local government in Indiana right now, is, that amount is going to be charged. Now the risk is collection. So hopefully the governor's actions earlier in the year help folks get through any kind of a cash crunch or anything like that due to the closures. So at this stage, we're continuing to monitor it pretty closely just to make sure our cash budgets for the end of the year hold steady. So historically speaking, the second installment of taxes have come in approximately 47% of the year total. So you can look at that as well, but for forecasting purposes, that's what we're continuing to use. So I'm happy to take any questions there. Otherwise, the other update I had is statutorily there is a long-term financial plan requirement. It's a presentation that needs to be presented, and then ultimately that'll be shared with the schools and libraries, et cetera. We're going to present that at your December meeting.
Okay.
Adam, is that like a forecast type presentation?
Yeah, absolutely, Commissioner Harris. That's exactly right. It's a long-term, it was relatively newly enacted reporting requirement. Last year was the first year that it was conducted, and it is a long-term, multi-year financial forecast. And by statute, we have to do it essentially by TIF, and also show the economic impact of each TIF and what we predict there as well. So there's certain criteria that have to be met both in the report as well as how it has to be noticed and then shared with the tax-based partners of the Redevelopment Commission. And that's why we wanted to make sure we had it prepared, fully vetted, and then had plenty of time to notice and publicize. Also, one of the conversations this year is the Finance Department, mainly the City Controller, wants to take kind of an innovative approach to. We're going to actually record the session as well so that it can be electronically distributed to anyone who can't either meet a WebEx or if they want to consume it on their own time.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Adam, not to make you speculate, but do we have any sense of our corporate partners in our TIF districts, whether or not they'll be able to pay their property taxes?
Yeah, so there's obviously a couple material ones. So in the short term, I think by and large, we're getting pretty comfortable that more than not are going to pay. There were many, as you know, that almost an overwhelming number that took advantage of the 60-day delay. That's currently not on the table. So we're hoping that in that case, they pay, on schedule this month, which then keeps us on schedule-wise. So that's why we're watching it. We haven't heard any, negative notices either from a business directly, and then obviously there's a few large taxpayers, mainly the one there in the Fry Road TIF that we've, had conversations with, and just to make sure that they're intending to pay, and we have received verbal confirmation that that's their full intent. And then we've obviously been paying close attention to the PWA report that the assessor's office prepares with regards to any future appeals commercially. And that's, that would be the risk I think we have to work through next year and into 2022. A lot of these large commercial, especially retail operations that were closed, they're likely going to challenge their commercial assessment when those come due. So we're having to watch that fairly closely as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. With respect to the Fry Road, I saw just a headline. I didn't dig into the story, but they were pleasantly surprised that their rent payers were paying rent still. So that bodes well, I think, for them.
Hey, Adam, so worst case scenario, I'm pulling out my banker hat now. Worst case scenario, would we have to get an adjustment of our debt if it got to the point where our own commission was unable to pay our own debts, or how would that play itself out?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's one we've all been thinking through just for good planning purposes, I suppose.
Yep.
So first and foremost, I just want to make sure for the record, in really all of our scenarios, we're not really putting much weight to a scenario where we're going to be where the Redevelopment Commission would have such low TIF realization that there would be a cash crunch to the point where we would have issue repaying debt service. And the reason being is because right now, even the economists are saying that this may have a 5 or 6 year tail, but the true revenue impact of this is going to be next year in 2022. So in that year, not only do we feel like we still have cash on hand, we've also paused, the city has chose to pause millions of dollars worth of capital projects as well to kind of preserve that cash. And then we also have fully funded debt service reserves that would be made available as well for the Redevelopment Commission. You'll see that on your fund balance report. There's quite a bit on reserve that ultimately the goal is to not use them and actually use that to pay the final principal and interest payments per scheduled, but that would also be additional security. So in the short term, the steps are being taken and the conversations are being had to try to make sure that the monthly cash forecast, both for the current year and then out, is positive, and making those steps ahead of time to make any preventions. But it is fluid. I want to say that as well. So that's why we're having to try to monitor it, and we're trying to get information from both local sources that are in the county, but then also, looking at both the state's, economic forecast as well as obviously national forecast, and just trying to make sure we have a good plan. I would welcome any and all of you in. If you'd like to have any one-on-one sessions to review the model, make sure you're comfortable with it, happy to invite you in and have that conversation. And then ultimately in the December presentation, we'll touch on a lot of those high-level forecasts publicly as well to socialize that to our partners.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thanks, Adam. Anybody else have any questions for Adam? All right. Moving on, department reports. Mr. Hodson, if you're on here.
I am on here, and the
Hello,
legal
sir.
department's all. I am well. How are you, Brian? David?
I am great. Yeah, thanks.
We have nothing to report and no questions, so thank you.
All right, sounds good. RDC attorney, Mr. Watson.
I have two items. First is listed in the agenda, and it relates to the Neovia report. That written report was due October 15. A reminder communication was sent via email to Neovia, and did not get a response to that, and have not received any written report. Their oral report would have been due today, but have again not had any communications from them. I intended to send a follow-up letter to them using their, the project agreement, legal notice addresses and so forth, but have not yet done that. I think at this point, I would recommend that the commission authorize a follow-up letter pursuant to the project agreement, notice addresses, and remind them formally of the report requirement, and see if that provides a response by next meeting in December. And if we don't get a response by then we may need to take further action under the agreement. But just as a bit of reference, this agreement is about 10 years old. It's nearing its completion. They have been in compliance over the years, and so I think it's fair to give a little bit of leniency at this point. I don't know if there's a whole lot of benefit to strict enforcement, so to speak, at this point. But in any event, that is a possibility if you were to choose to do that. But my recommendation is to authorize a letter to be sent and see how they respond.
Well, I move that we authorize Mr. Watson to proceed as he's outlined and contact Neovia and see what's going on.
I'll second that. Third. All right. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those nay. All right. Motion approved.
All right. Thank you. Second item relates to a couple documents that I believe we received yesterday, which I've not had an opportunity to fully review and evaluate, but it relates to the Echelon project, in which the Redevelopment Commission participated by facilitating a bond for that helps allow them to make some improvements through funding of the bond. And it appears that they are requesting the final distribution of those bond funds now that they have completed their project. And what I need to do is to review the bond requirements as to that, make sure what they have submitted is in compliance, and if so, then we can authorize that distribution. It does have a blank for a City of Greenwood authorized representative to approve, and I would suggest that the commission delegate authority to the president and secretary of the commission to approve this, pending or subject to my review of the bond requirements to make sure that they have satisfied those.
All right. Is there a motion to that effect?
That motion.
Thanks, Mr. Campbell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moan. Thank you, sir. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. Hearing no nays, we'll say that was a 5-0 approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Watson? All right. Thank you, sir.
Not today.
Mr. Wright.
Nothing from my office.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Johnston.
All right, well, good afternoon. I've got 2 items on the agenda plus the one walk-on item that I emailed earlier today.
Okay.
The first is for the city's school zone flasher pedestrian crossing project. We have I guess an aspect of this where actually the city needs additional right-of-way at one of the school locations. Back in the mid-90s, the right-of-way was never dedicated to the city as it should have been, and so We've been in communication with the Greenwood schools. They're still willing to donate land for this project. However, NDOT sees that even though it's a donation, NDOT's going to treat that as if it were a purchase. And per their usual process, you can't purchase right away until you have an environmental document complete. So we are having to do an environmental document. It's the lowest level or one of the lower levels, just due to the scope of the project. But there will also be additional survey work involved with that at two of the locations. We're hoping that additional survey work will actually allow us to do some design revisions that will reduce some impacts and make the project a little easier. So our consultant is Shrewsbury and Associates, and the original fee, or the original professional service agreement, was $94,973. So far, this known scope, the additional fee increase, is $39,399. And I say the known amount because we had a meeting with Shrewsbury last Friday talking about the different aspects of this additional work. We had some other questions. They're going to clarify with NDOT whether or not there might be an additional work. And then I actually sent them an email today asking on their fee how some of the items maybe they could be reduced, maybe they don't necessarily apply to what's to hopefully they don't apply for this scope, or at least they can be reduced from the fee. So that number is still, that final number is still pending with all those questions. So in terms of schedule, this project currently has a letting of July 2021, so next July. And a lot of the efforts, especially with the environmental, that's going to take a little while. The survey work will as well. So my request for you would be for the commission to delegate approval authority to the RDC president and secretary for final future scope and fee increase associated with this project once we receive it.
Okay, and at right now it's about $40,000, but we don't know if that's going to go up, huh?
That's correct.
So this free piece of land is going to cost us at least $40,000 thanks to NDOT. That's awesome. We should take it out of there. Make them repay us for that amount. It's just crazy.
Is there an estimation as to what the additional fee might be? I mean, we talking another 40,000 or?
I don't think it'll be that much. If I were to ballpark, it would be anywhere from 3 to 10.
Okay. So if we did a 50,000 not to exceed,
not to exceed 50,000,
that would
be
probably
sufficient.
I hope so.
All right.
Well, I hope so, and I hope that the amount doesn't come back, or at least if it does come back with such a high amount, that we could then take that to NDOT, maybe reach out to them and say, hey, does this make sense? I understand you have your standard procedures and policies and all that, but does it make sense for this type of project? So.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to cost Greenwood taxpayers $50,000 plus for a free piece of land for school signals? Yeah. All right. I'll entertain a motion to that effect if anybody wants to make it, not to exceed 50,000.
Yeah, I'll make a motion not to approve, not to exceed 50,000 with the approval of the president and secretary.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Hoover. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion approved 5-0.
Thank you very much on that one. The second one, this is associated with the Worsville Road Section 3 project. And I know it's in the agenda, it says ratify relocation reimbursement voucher. As you know, we've had a number of these relocation reimbursements over the last year or so. We've actually had 70 of them. And so the most recent one that really spurred the come to talk to update you was for the Greenwood Estates. not any of the homeowner specifically, but the business, the property owner. This most recent one was $25,000, and I think the president and the secretary both approved of that. Mr. Watson had some follow-up questions that I relayed back to our consultants, and they got us the answers today. I think it was, so we'll start to process this payment. But I did want to update you on what this amount brings us to. So cumulatively, we are at $495,369.39 for these various relocation reimbursement vouchers for this project. Like I said, we've had about 70 of them. A number of them have gone to the individual homeowners. This is the only one that's gone to the property owner, and others went to the moving companies that actually physically moved the homes from the original location to their second location. There were a lot of other different types of vouchers, so I just wanted to update you on that cumulative amount. So any questions on that?
Daniel, I've got a question. There's that one yellow trailer at the eastern edge, it's right across from the BP, that's still there. Is that not one that we are getting rid of?
That's correct. That one was not going to be impacted by the project.
It's obviously vacant, doesn't have any doors or windows. Is somebody going to take care of that? I mean, we're going to put a nice.
We can look into it if it's vacant. My understanding is that it's not. The homeowner reached out to us, or at least to the property owner. I would say within the last 4 or 5 months. But if it's vacant, we can reach out to the.
It looks pretty bad. Okay, thank you.
At the very least, have code enforcement go take a look at it if it's got no doors and windows. All right, and you had a walk-on, sir?
Yes. This one's going to be related to our Main Street and Airport Parkway intersection improvements project. We're in the middle of, I guess, getting ready for land acquisition phase of this project. Similar situation to the schools. The right-of-way along Main Street was never dedicated to the city. So at the October meeting, Paul Pioni, I think he asked for the commission to ratify a professional services agreement with Crossroad Engineers to provide legal description and exhibit documents for the right-of-way. We actually received those late last week. And so the next step for us is to proceed with appraisals, or at least seeking appraisal fees. And so very similar to the item earlier in the agenda with Kevin in terms of consideration of appraisal services. That's one of the groups that we'll reach out to, and two of the others that the city typically uses. So my request for the commission would actually be to delegate approval authority to the RDC president and secretary for future professional services agreements with consultants performing appraisal services for this project. We hope to be able to reach out to those firms and get those responses, those fees, hopefully before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Is there a motion?
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Harris. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moan. Thank you, sir.
Is there an estimated amount? Any idea? I don't like these open-ended approvals.
Understand.
Mr. Hopper will spend every penny we got.
Yeah, that's what I've heard anyway. Big spender.
Just going off of the various appraisal fee proposals that we've seen over the years, I would estimate somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000. I guess there's a potential it could be slightly more than that, maybe potentially up to 5. But again, that's just speculation.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions? when it comes back at 100,000, I'll know something's not right, Mr. Campbell. Maybe I'll ask a couple questions rather than just sign it. And I always have Mr. Harris to back me up if I'm doing something completely wrong.
There you go. Okay, well, I trust him.
Yeah, they'd have to fool us both in order to be able to get something past us, you know? Right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Moen. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, motion approved 5-0.
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, anything from the mayor's office today? That doesn't mean he wasn't here. All right, I'm going to go since I don't hear anything. What's next here? Claims docket. Claims docket is for $2,320,690.03. Anybody have any questions? All right. Is there a motion to approve?
A motion. Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Campbell. Thank you, sir. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hoover. Thank you, sir. All right. All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion approved 5-0. Consideration of 2021 meeting dates. I honestly can't say that I've seen what those are, but they're usually the second Tuesday of every month, unless it happens to be I don't know, a holiday of some sort. I don't know that we have any Tuesday holidays coming up next year. I don't remember seeing one on the state calendar anyway. Is there something in our packet, Amanda, that on the shared drive that had the dates on there? Maybe.
Yeah,
It's on there, and I just reviewed it, and they are all on the second Tuesday.
All right.
At least it appears that way from their days number.
All right.
Okay. Do we need to approve these? Do we need a motion, I guess, to approve these dates?
You should.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed dates for 2021.
Motion by Mr. Campbell. I'll second it. Save everybody the work. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. 2021 dates are approved, 5-0. Any other business from the floor? Anybody have anything? There's usually spot on here for that, but I don't see it today. I guess we don't want to hear from anybody else. It's all right. All right. Hearing none, I will adjourn the meeting at 5:13. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Hopper.
Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks, you too.
Thanksgiving.